Hello and welcome everyone to the ISCA Thursday Night Cup Series as we tackle Texas. And as everyone knows, you can't get bigger than Texas. I mean, this is going to be a difficult gauntlet for these drivers. I know 1 and 2 very tricky on this racetrack, kind of throws the rhythm off. I know 3 and 4 fairly simple when it comes to a mile and a half. Go through there pretty much flat out on the bottom. There could be some different lines that you can go through 1 and 2. Of course, we have 167 laps here tonight, 250 miles here. Big shout out to Texas de Brazil for coming on board here for tonight's race. Tell you what, you guys are in for a treat when you see that commercial later. I do believe makes your mouth water a little bit. I know, Big Al, you actually have been to that restaurant before, right?
Yeah, absolutely. A couple times. Pretty nice place there, guys. Check it out.
Yeah, definitely looks very nice. You know, all the different meats and things that they give you. Of course, warm-up is going on right now. They're soon to be moving on into qualifying. Race facts for tonight is the Texas de Brazil 250 at Texas. Like I said before, 167 laps. Stages are 35 and 70, so some pretty short stages. Of course, the race ending on 167 going to 168. 6 sets of tires. I do believe that means 5 down in the actual pits. And if I know anything about Texas, this place probably eats them up. Depending on how you tackle 1 and 2, 49 laps on the fuel window. So these guys will be able to make it through the first 2 stages, but should have to see a stop in that final stage. You see qualifying has begun. We see Don Avery going to be tackling it out there. Now, I'm curious how big qualifying is going to be here. I would say it's going to be pretty big, just considering how much tire saving you're going to have to do in 1 and 2, and you know, really going to want to have that track position. I would say clean air is going to be really important to that 1 and 2 turn. Wouldn't you say, Big Al?
Yeah, definitely. Clean air is definitely going to play a huge role here in this race tonight. Drivers just going to have to be really careful going through the first 2 stages, especially those drivers that are in the playoffs, man, because, you know, Texas is prone to wrecks.
Yeah, and it's also prone to, I'd say, some controversy from a lot of drivers. Some guys like this place, the new reconfiguration. Some guys don't. I know that NASCAR, I do believe, announced recently they're going to be reconfiguring it yet again. So I'm curious to see what they're going to, do with this racetrack. Very curious. I know I love the legacy version of this place. Almost reminds me a lot of a Charlotte in a lot of ways. But we'll have to see how these guys tackle it. I know from what these guys remember last time we were here in the next gen car, they said it's even different from then, Big Al. I'm curious if there was like an update or something that changed it.
Yeah, we did just have an update. So, you know, when those things happen, you just really don't understand what you're going to get until you get into it a little bit. Looks like Jeffrey Susado's not having any problems. Is he, Don Avery now with the fastest time there during qualifying.
100% qualifying is still underway. Let's take a look here at the the Super Cup points standings here. Clayton Hoffman, of course, at the top of the board with 3 wins so far. Don't see him in the grid right now, so I'm wondering if he's actually going to make it here. Probably feels a lot like he doesn't have a lot of pressure on him right now. I know Matt DeCiani sitting in second in the points right now. Probably going to be looking, if Clayton does not come here tonight, Matt's going to be wanting to capitalize on that. Mark Padgett sitting in 3rd place right now. Josh Schaffner in 4th. Jeffrey Souza, who you were just mentioning, he's sitting 5th in the points. 6th place, Al Kozlowski. 7th, Wayne Grossi. 8th, Chris Johnson. 9th, Kenny Powell. 10th, Mark Sanchez. Sanchez has been looking really strong here as of late. Going a little bit further down the running order here, Randy Drumhiller in 11th place. 12th, Andrew Griesbaum. 13th, Greg Wachinski. 14th, Andrew Layton. 15th, Paul Olson. And 16th, Robert Pattengale, who we haven't seen in a while. I know seeing Josh Schaffner right now out here qualifying, I'm sure he's going to be wanting to make up for the disastrous race at Bristol. I mean, I know a lot of these guys are probably in that same kind of boat, feeling like they didn't get a fair shake at Bristol. Bristol was a tricky place that anything can go wrong. Probably a lot of guys set their sights on this track and hoping for a little bit of redemption, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, Bristol didn't treat me well. So I've been kind of boycotting the entire series since we left Bristol. I'm just still got my feelings hurt here. Trying to figure out what I got to do to maybe rebound. I don't know. But yeah, you're right. A lot of drivers probably feeling a little bit down here, But tonight we're back at a mile and a half. So guys get a chance to kind of air it out a little bit and maybe get some strong playoff runs.
Yeah, definitely going to be needing that for sure. We have 50 minutes or 50 seconds left in qualifying. I see Andrew Griesbaum trying to get a last-minute qualifying in. Let's go ahead and take that step away and pay some attention to our nation and play our national anthem. And we'll be right back with the grid.
Drivers, start your engines!
Experience traditional Brazilian cuisine, served with the hospitality that Texas is famous for. Here at Texas de Brazil, you simply turn your card to green, and expert carvers serve you fine cuts of beef, lamb, pork, chicken, and Brazilian sausage. Turn your card to red when you want a break. Then repeat. Make reservations now at texasdebrazil.com.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We have the grid set for this evening's action. Mark Pageant had a strong run at Bristol last week, and now going to be finding himself atop the board here on the pole. Greg Wychinski going to be in second place. Mark Sanchez qualifying third. Don Avery in fourth. Fifth place going to belong to Jeffrey Souza. Matt DeCiani in sixth. Seventh place going to be John Mullins, with eighth place Josh Schaffner. Ninth place going to be Wayne Grassi, and rounding out our top 10, Al Kozlowski.
Yep, that's going to put Kenny Powell in 11th with Randy Drumhiller alongside him in 12th. Andrew Griesbaum starts off in 13th with Derek Heitman beside him in 14th. Paul Olsen and Andrew Layton round out this 16-car field, Brian.
Yeah, not the hugest field by any means, but I think this is still going to be quite an exciting race. We've, seen some strong performances out of all these guys out here. I'm curious, those guys that are starting in the back. Derek Heitman, we know he's always a strong contender, has a lot of speed, shows a lot of aggressiveness, though. I'm wondering, if he's going to be able to save equipment back there. Anybody that's starting closer to the rear of the field, I'm curious how that's going to turn out. I mean, with how different they say the update maybe made these cars and this track, I'm curious to see what that's going to look like.
Yeah, you're just going to have to bide your time. Guys cannot be too aggressive. Like I said, especially those guys that are in the playoffs, they're going to have to be really smart, not risking it too much, but still trying to put points on the board at the end of the stages. But, I don't know. I haven't been at Texas yet this year, but I'm telling you, this place can really get tricky there, Brian, especially around that start-finish line.
Taking a look here at the track facts and weather. at Texas Motor Speedway. This is a 1.46, which I thought it was just a 1.5. So maybe the reconfiguration kind of shortened it up a little bit here. Locations in Fort Worth, of course. Air temp out there, 75 degrees. The track temp is actually 103. So I don't know if that's really too hot, but I mean, it's definitely somewhere right in the middle. But I'll tell you what really is kind of going to affect the handling of these race cars, probably that wind speed, 13 mile an hour right now, going towards the southeast. So sky conditions are clear, so shouldn't see a whole lot of cloud cover out here tonight.
No, you shouldn't see a lot of cloud cover, but you should see a lot of maybe two wide racing, you think?
Definitely, I say in the beginning, I'd say we're going to see a whole lot of two wide racing, and but I think as it goes on, we're going to see guys' tires start to wear a good bit, and we'll see that equal passing opportunities for for the guys that have been saving.
Conservation, I think that's going to be the key. But kudos to Mark Paget and Greg Wachinski. Wachinski actually getting himself up there on the outside pole, so that's got to be feeling pretty good for him.
Oh yeah, it's got to be feeling great for him. I mean, I know Wachinski had a very strong run, or was going to have a strong run last week, but it unfortunately kind of got caught up in some trouble. So he's probably looking to try to stay out, be in front and not have to deal with the trouble.
Yeah, I also want to give a look at Mark Sanchez. He's starting out there on the inside behind the leader, so that's got to be good, feeling good for him as well.
And he's been showing considerable speed. I mean, I was very impressed with the way he was tackling Bristol. Curious how that's going to translate here to a mile and a half.
A little disappointed not to see the brothers Johnson out here in this thing here this evening. Hopefully,
yeah, that's it. I was thinking about that when we were going through the grid, Big Al. That is curious, isn't it?
Yeah. Hopefully they'll both show up for Saturday night's festivities.
Of course, the pace car lights are out. We're getting ready to get this thing underway. Mark Paget going to have the field in hands as we exit onto the backstretch. Definitely an exciting race we have in store for us here. I know some of the guys who have been running the officials this week say that they've been quite disappointed. Just how, I mean, not with the, they said the racing's fun, but it's just a lot of the other drivers out there are the problem. Hopefully we won't have too much of that tonight.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have clean racing, and everybody, these guys are very respectful of each other, so maybe that'll help with the patience just a little bit. It's like you said, the lights are off on the pace car. He'll be ducking down out of the way, and we will enter the Geico restart zone. Mark Paget will be leading the field here for the first time this evening. Hopefully he'll get a good start here.
Green flag out for the first time here this evening. Mark Paget with a great start, but look at that. Mark Sanchez already challenging for second side by side. Yeah, here comes Don Avery.
Got to get it while the getting's hot here, especially with these tires. So guys will be trying to make their moves very early on here to try to jockey for position. Track position is going to be everything.
You see a lot of guys fanning out there coming off of turn 2. Some guys probably even getting a little bit loose. I know on the restarts, that's when that turn 1 and 2 is really, really tricky because it's hard to know at what speed you should be going. It's very deceptive on, you can go through there and be comfortable up until the last second, and then you get loose.
Yeah, you really got to hold your mouth right when you're coming through 1 and 2 because these cars do tend to get a little bit loose, and the tail end will slide right underneath you. Speaking of that, the 88 of Al Koslowski now is going to be battling side by side with Josh Schaffner. That battle is going to be for 9th place.
Josh Schaffner looks like he slides right down in front of the 88 Speedways Angels machine. Here comes Kenny Powell, going to be trying to look on the inside. Very difficult to pass, I'd say, in 3 and 4. You're going to see a lot of guys biding their time probably for 3 or for 1 and 2. Set yourself up for that backstretch. As you see, Al Koslowski does make the pass on Josh Schaffner, but he drove it in really deep. Now, that could affect his tires later in the run.
Yep, coming in. Speaking of coming in deep, here comes the 7 of Wayne Grosky. He's sporting a brand new paint scheme, not that usual lucky yellow that we see, but he is going to be inside of John Mullins trying to get the best of him. This battle is going to be for 7th place. Looks like Koslowski is going to take the lead here, coming into 1 here. He's going to take that position over.
Yeah, a lot of battling going on here. John Mullins on the high side here of this 7. And like you said, different paint scheme there for Wayne Grossi. Not sure I like it too much. I've always been, a fan of that Pennzoil yellow that he run.
Yeah, he's trying something a little different. Maybe he's going to shake up his luck a little bit. He was putting down some killer times there in practice. Hopefully we'll see that transfer over here to the actual race pace, as he is going to be coming up on Matt DeCiani there. Look at Al Kozlowski now. He has got himself all the way up here trying to put his nose in, throw his hat in the ring, if you will.
And I'm wondering what DeCiani's plan is here. It seems like he's a little off the pace. Could he just be doing that on purpose to try to save that tire? As John Mullins is going to lose a spot there to Wayne Grossi. Grossi now up to 7th place.
Yeah, Grossi had just a little bit of a loose condition there coming off of that last turn there.
And look at there goes Al Kozlowski once again. He's like the hungry hippos out there, just chopping them all down.
He's got nothing to lose, Brian, so I could definitely understand and appreciate his sentiment as the 2 of Mark Padgett continues to lead this field. Now, Clean Air is definitely being his fan here, is being his friend here, if you will, because he is definitely doing what needs to be done right now, right?
Yeah, he definitely is. But looking at his lap times, last time by 30.506 versus Greg Wychinski 30.354. So wouldn't be surprised to see some things change here for Padgett. Maybe conservation is in his mind. I mean, we've seen him before. Maybe he's trying to back it up to Greg Wychinski and not really get a tremendous lead.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. You need to keep everybody nice and tight. That way, you kind of hold off those charges and those runs, because this track is, somewhat draft dependent, if you will. It will definitely suck you in and spit you out. Speaking of that, Al Kozlowski getting very loose there as he got pulled right up to the back of Wayne Grossi and then had to get out of it. But when he came back into the throttle there, he kind of felt it a little bit.
Look at Don Avery. Moves his way up into the 3rd position, able to get around Mark Sanchez. Now Jeffrey Souza all over the back of the 31. And we're only 8 laps into this thing, and I'm already seeing tire fall off. I'm already seeing these guys starting to struggle. Here comes Souza on the inside. Sanchez running high up on the racetrack. Can't be good for those tires. So Souza's going to take over 4th place.
Run, Jeffrey, run. Jeffrey Souza, definitely one of the favorites in this league here, man. He is also, a very good driver. Actually, we cover him in more than just the ISCA, so kind of a little fan of the Souza Media team there.
Oh, yeah, definitely a very talented group of guys that they have there that they have gotten together. As everybody essentially is single filed out except for Kenny Powell and Al Kozlowski. See those two battling. Also Andrew Griesbaum trying to work on John Mullins in that Ford. Kenny Powell coming up on top in that battle with Al Kozlowski. He's going to take over, I do believe, that 8th place position and try to work his way closer and closer to Wayne Grossi. Almost verging on 3 wide behind him is Griesbaum trying his hardest to get around.
Look, I'm just happy that everybody's running clean here, man. Looks like, these guys are probably going to try to go for maybe a caution-free race again. I think they've done that at least 2 times so far this season.
You also see Derek Heitman started way in the back here. He's now up into 12th place, now working on Andrew Griesbaum. Josh Schaffner having to, I do believe, try to keep Andrew Layton behind him. Layton hungry to get some more spots here. But here comes Derek Heitman. He's able to make the pass on that 78. Going to move himself up into 11th. Of course, this stage ends, I do believe, on lap 35, going to 36. So still a ways to go until that time comes. I mean, guys are trying to work their way up into the top 10. They need those stage points, Big Al.
Yeah, absolutely. All of those points are important, and every driver out here understands the value of that, especially those that are in the playoffs. So, who knows what this thing is going to offer for us as this race goes on. It looks like the 11 of Don Avery there is trying to do everything he can to get up alongside the 14 of Jeffrey Souza.
Yeah, we just saw the 14 actually capture third place away from that 11. 11 went high to let him go. Looks like Don Avery starting to struggle a little bit, probably going to be needing some adjustments. But I'll tell you what, very impressed with what Greg Wychinski has managed to do here. He has definitely been fast and consistent so far, holding second pretty well here, and he has been keeping that gap between him and the leader fairly constant.
Yeah, Wychinski was also putting down some blistering lap times during practice as well, so definitely look like he has a good feel for this track, because I don't imagine that he is going to be struggling. And, I don't know if these guys are going to be really making a lot of adjustments, but seems like they're letting it hang out here pretty good for this first run.
Oh,
right?
Problems for Al Kozlowski. Gets really loose off of turn 2. That gives the position to, I do believe, Derek Heitman and Andrew Griesbaum and John Mullins, all able to get around him. Oh! Al Kozlowski is under a tremendous amount of pressure right now. He just lost every bit of the track position he had worked to get. That is unfortunate for that 88. Seems like he is not driving, kind of struggling a little bit. That car not handling the way he wants it to on the long running. Could it be that he just, heated up those rear tires and it's just not gripping? That's what's making it so loose.
Yeah, we're halfway through, almost halfway through this first stage. So I think that would be about the time where drivers probably experience a little bit of degradation or fall off. Randy Drumhiller, though, he is actually caught up to the 50th softener. Him and the 43 of Paul Olsen were kind of way back off the pass, but these guys, Drumhiller kind of put the hammer down there. And so be interested to see just how far he does make it up the back here, Brian.
Yeah, definitely would be interesting. I mean, the 44 Randy Drumhiller has been growing and getting better as the seasons we've seen here in the ISCA have gone on.
Yeah, just when I said that they probably wouldn't be making any adjustments, I don't think that's going to be the case for that Speedway Angels 88, because it looks like he has definitely got his hands full right about now, Brian.
Also got to talk about a little bit up towards the front here. Jeffrey Souza just made the pass for second place. Greg Wychinski starting to struggle a little bit here as the 11 of Don Avery even gets around him.
Yeah, that might be one of those lean spots in the setup, because I'm assuming that a lot of those G&G guys might possibly be running the same setup. So that could actually speak to the tightness condition that they're experiencing right now.
Here comes Mark Sanchez, going to be under fire from the 7 of Wayne Grossi. Grossi's been looking really good. Oh, he gets sideways, but he's able to keep it pointed in the right direction. Doesn't lose a whole lot of momentum as he tries to make that pass on the 31.
Yeah, I imagine that DeCiani, Sanchez, and Grossi are probably all going to try to stick there together and maybe work up to the front as a group, as they are, probably looking out for each other is what I would imagine.
Take a look through the cockpit camera here of Matt DeCiani. We know he's, saw him, I wouldn't say struggling, was going a little bit slower earlier in this run, but I think that was on purpose, because, it looks like he is starting to run some really good laps compared to the rest of the field here. He's faster than a couple of the guys that's in front of him, but I just want to see what a lap looks like around this place. You can see just how on edge that one is.
A lot of stern wheel movement there coming from that one car.
You can see these guys lifting a whole lot. 1 and 2 is almost like a short track corner here at this racetrack. I think the real thing you want to do with 1 and 2 is get off of it early, back it up, get that power down as early as you possibly can so you have good drive off.
Yeah, you're waiting on that thing to rotate through the turn.
You see, he's even having to lift in 3 and 4 here, so that just shows that, as the tires start to wear, you're going to have to adjust how you're driving it.
Yeah, but Mark Paget slowly extending his lead over the 14 of Jeffrey Souza.
Yeah, he definitely is. Looking at his lap times, he's one of the fastest guys in the field. And you talked about earlier about how important clean air is. You think this is what, representation of that?
Yeah, definitely is going to be a true representation of that. So that's just going to show you how much guys are going to risk it to stay out front, because you cannot put a value on that at all.
And look at how much the lap times have fallen off. We're only 23 laps into this run. We're going to have much longer runs later in the race. And, you know, they're already falling off about a second and a half here. I mean, looking at their fastest lap times for Mark Pageant, at least, 30.328. Now it's hitting 31.7. So, I mean, a lot of fall off coming from this 0-2 and everybody else in the field.
Absolutely, as they're just trying to maintain, Brian. I think that is what everybody's trying to do, is we are almost going to be 10 laps to go in this stage. It'll be about 11 laps remaining here once the leaders do come across the line. Speaking of the leader, yeah, Mark Pageant doing exactly what he needs to do to keep that car in the lead.
Yeah, looking at the track temps just a moment there, still hovering at around 103 degrees, so it hasn't changed a whole lot, but the wind has been fluctuating. It keeps going up and down, but hovering around that 10-mile-an-hour mark to 12 to 13, somewhere in there. And I think that's what's really having the worst impact, or the biggest impact on these race cars. We've seen that a lot lately, Big Al, the wind really playing a huge role.
Yeah, and the fact that, you know, you kind of got it in your face and then on your back at the same track, you know.
Especially, you know, depending on where the wind's kind of orientated, it could really affect your turn 1 and 2. Jeffrey Souza looking pretty strong here. He's starting to run down Mark Pageant somewhat here as we have 10 laps to go here in the stage. Soon to be 9 when they cross the line. Not a whole lot of battling going on. I think we've gotten past that point. I think that everybody is just kind of holding on, racing their own race right now, trying to make it to the stage break. As they go down into 3 and 4. Mark Pageant running a little bit higher up off the bottom there. I'm curious if that's deliberate. Losing a lot of pace, though. Looking at his lap time, 32.042 last time by, so that was a tenth slower than Jeffrey Souza. Souza probably, you know, has just enough time. If he's able to keep this pace up, he might be able to try to get up there to Mark Pageant, but I think it's going to be one thing to catch him, another thing completely to pass, which is kind of the golden rule for every track, wouldn't you say, Big Al?
Yeah, absolutely. It's one thing to catch him, something totally different to pass him.
And one thing we've seen with this car and just with the aero package, the closer that, you know, Jeffrey Souza gets up to the rear end of Mark Pageant, the worse that car is going to handle. So, I mean, it really even makes it even worse where, you know, yeah, it is one thing to catch him and another thing completely to pass him just because, I mean, just the aero, the dirty air that 02 is going to be dumping on the front end.
Yeah, that is definitely going to cause the handling of this car to change dramatically, you know, just like you said.
Soon to be 5 laps remaining here in this stage. Looks like we do have some side-by-side battling there. I believe the 84 and the 44. Randy Drumhiller has been making moves. Right now trying to find his way up into 11th place. Not going to have enough time, I do believe, to get up into the top 10. He's definitely going to be trying to fight with this 84. Andrew Layton also in a little bit of a different paint scheme. You usually see him in the monster scheme. Looks like he has changed it up a bit here. Everybody now has fallen off into the 32-second range, so almost 2 seconds of fall off already. I mean, just really shows that, you know, the tire wear is definitely insane. I think a lot of these guys going to be going back to the drawing board.
Yeah, I think the 43 of Paul Olsen is going to have to go back a little bit further than the drawing board. He's definitely kind of been struggling. Did pick up the pace just a little bit on that last lap, though. That saw him at a 32.603. Not sure what's going on, though. But this track it's not as straightforward as a lot of people might assume. A lot of people think, well, a big old wide open track like this, but yeah, it can be pretty technical as well, Brian.
Yeah, it definitely can be. And Paul's been having somewhat some struggles here as of late, and just unfortunate to see it because we've seen him definitely have some speed at other places, but hopefully they get that all worked out. So you know what, the battle is on, though. You see Derek Heitman, he has caught up to the 7 of Wayne Grossi. Kenny Powell also right there. Heitman going to be trying to shoot on the inside here. This is the white flag for the stage. Be coming out any time now. So time is running out for that 76 to get even more stage point. As there goes Wayne Grossi. He's on the bottom. Heitman trying to use the top, but I just don't think that's going to work, especially when the tires are this worn out. And it looks like Mark Pageant has almost 6/10 here on Jeffrey Souza as they cross the line. Caution flag should be coming out here any moment. As the top 10 are going to be crossing the start-finish line, and Mark Pageant, your Stage 1 winner, definitely looking very strong out there, and no wonder. I mean, he's carried a lot of momentum from last week. Definitely was one of the only guys that could even try to keep up with Clayton Hoffman, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely.
But with that stage out there, well, actually, let's run down through the standings here. Mark Pageant, of course, your stage winner. Jeffrey Souza, second place. Don Avery in third. Greg Wachinski, fourth. Matt DeCiani, fifth. Wayne Grossi in sixth. Derek Heitman, seventh. Kenny Powell, eighth. Mark Sanchez in ninth. And rounding out our top 10, John Mullins. And with that, we'll take a brief step away, and we'll come back, and we'll talk to, hopefully we'll be able to maybe dial up Mark Pageant. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Yellow flag pit stops are underway as we have just completed stage number 1. Still have about a little under 130 laps remaining here in this event. Do believe these guys. Oh wow! Look at Souza, almost able to win the race off of pit road. He mashed that gas pedal down pretty dang hard there, Big Al, to try to get that lead away. But now that they have completed these stops, let's go ahead and bring up old Mark Pageant.
Hey, guys.
All righty, we got him here in the booth. Mark Pageant, great job on that stage 1 win. I mean, you got to be feeling pretty confident. I mean, you had a lot of, speed last week at Bristol. You were one of the only guys that could really even tussle with Clayton Hoffman. I mean, do you feel like this is your chance? I know Clayton is not here tonight, and you're showing really good pace. Even, how big is the clean air?
I really don't know. I was watching my teammates behind me, Don and Jeff, to try to gauge that. We all seemed pretty even, so it might be a track position issue more than clean air.
Well, that's definitely interesting. I mean, how are the tires wearing? It seems like they're wearing substantially.
Yeah, they are. I was in the about 70% range there after 30. So if we get a long run, you're going to see some people really hurting for tires, lap 40, 50, 60 of a run. Well, I guess we can only do about 50 on fuel, but we'll be hurting by the end of the fuel run.
Yeah, definitely sounds like you will be, but looks like you got a pretty good handling machine there in that 0-2. I know you guys are getting ready to get back green flag racing. Who can we give a shout out to after your stage 1 win?
Yeah, the Triad team. We built another good set, as you can see by me, Jeff, and Don all being up here. A great team effort. Jeff Barnes, specifically Jeffrey Souza, put a lot of time into this set. So thanks to the team. It's a team effort every week over here.
All righty. Definitely appreciate your time, man, and best of luck to you.
Thanks, guys.
That was Mark Pageant, our stage 1 winner, and what a great job he did, and love every chance we can get to talk to him. Such a charismatic individual. See, the pace car lights are out. We're getting ready to get this thing back underway. Of course, all those guys working together on Triad on setups. I'm curious, how much are they going to be working together on the track? I don't think Souza is going to be acting much like a teammate here. He's going to want to win.
Yeah, I think they're going to be respectful. There's still lots and lots of racing left to go. So, you don't want to take your teammate out this early on in the competition. Pace car is down. Looks like Mark Paget's going to waste no time getting going there in that Geico restart zone, trying to solidify his lead as he leads us on into turn 1 on cold tires. Probably going to be a welcome relief there coming off of those old tires. He said his tire wear was all the way down in the 70s, Brian. That does not sound like it's going to play favor for some of these guys here this evening.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of a wake-up call to a lot of these drivers to kind of save that equipment a little bit more. As we see Wayne Grossi now up into the 4th place position. Greg Wachinski under a lot of fire here from Matt DiCiani. Also, Derek Heitman has been working through this field all night long so far, and now finds himself up into 6th, trying to take one away and get up to 5th.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that, as Greg Wachinski is going to be coming around the outside there of the 1. He's also going to be pulling up and snugging up next to Wayne Grossi, sorry.
Tell you what, it's because his paint scheme's different. I'd remember his name all day if his paint scheme was still the same. But he's in the Gator Racing Machine, so must have got a new sponsor or joined a new race team. Glad to see it. Definitely a great start from Mark Sanchez, qualifying in 3rd place, but he has not had the best time under actual race conditions, as John Mullins on the top side going to be trying to take that position away. Also, Kenny Powell has not been really, shooting a lot of fireworks off here tonight. Expected him to be a little bit more aggressive, maybe just trying to survive, but it doesn't seem like going to be a whole lot of cautions here. But Powell does work his way past Mark Sanchez, moves himself up into 9th place. Sanchez, though, seems like he is definitely on the struggle bus. Also see Al Kozlowski. We saw he was very fast on the short run in that last stage. Wonder if he learned any lessons from that last stage, because it seemed like he started struggling very, very much so towards the late run.
I think he burned his equipment up. I think that's exactly what happened, but you want to do that. You want to get out there and push hard in that first stage so you can kind of get an idea where the limits are going to be. Like Mark said, once we get into that 3rd stage, and drivers are going to have to make that decision of when they're going to want to pit, it's just going to be tricky. As the 76 of Heitman now moves up along the high side of the 5 of Greg Wachinski.
Derek Heitman doing a great job there up on the top side. Looks like he's going to get a good run on the exit here, but Greg Wachinski going to be able to hold him pretty much dead even.
It's going to be going into the turn here. This is where, and I do love that about this track, where you can kind of get those runs going into the turn and just accelerate off. And that's exactly what Heitman is trying to do out there. Almost going to get the advantage there. It looks like he is going to solidify that position from Wachinski, but here comes the 11 of Don Avery, as well as the 64 Mullins. So a lot of racy conditions going on here around the positions right now in this stage, Brian.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see guys able to make a pass on the top of the track. That's kind of very interesting, especially in 3 and 4. Usually Texas, you run the bottom in 3 and 4, but it looks like some guys maybe doing a little bit different here. Is Avery almost bump drafting the 5 of Greg Wachinski here. You also saw kind of a block being thrown by Kenny Powell on Andrew Griesbaum. Now Kenny Powell, I do believe, finds himself up into still 9th place, but he is right there behind all these guys trying to make something happen.
Yeah, that was a block. That was not like kind of a block. Yeah, he definitely came out and just wanted to keep the draft. I think that was the biggest thing there. You didn't want to get sucked backwards, kind of wanted to make sure you could maintain that forward momentum as the 11 of Don Avery is coming up on the side here of John Mullins.
Yeah, Mullins having a fantastic stage number 2.
Yeah, both of those two guys just got around the 5 of Wachinski now. Now they're trying to slowly make their way up to the front. It's a 76 of Derek Heitman now is on the inside of Matt DeCiani. He's going to make that work, and that's going to put Heitman all the way up to 4th.
Yeah, Derek Heitman has been trending through, trending forward here all night long. He's been moving through this field. Now finds himself up to 4th. Next place he's going to be focusing on is Wayne Grossi. And then Matt DeCiani on the top here struggling, going to be under fire from John Mullins. So DeCiani not necessarily having the night that he probably needs here, considering he is 2nd in the points. Clayton Hobbin, of course, being 1st in the points, not here tonight. He needs to capitalize right now, Big Al.
Yeah, it's all about capitalization, and that's what you have to do. You got to make hay when the sun's shining, as Brian Britt would say.
That's right. I'll tell you what, though, Wayne Grossi doing a fantastic job, starting to put some pressure on this 14. But Mark Pageant, not having any problems at all. He is way gone now. He is 1.3 seconds out in front.
I mean, I think he's got a good idea of exactly what to expect from this stage. So as long as, and he said track position, so as long as he can stay out front, keep at a decent lead, he really won't have to worry about, having to contend for the position. One driver that is actually kind of got a little pep in his step here under this second run, that is the 43, Paul Ocean. He is actually rolling up now with the field, which is actually pretty good for him. 19 laps or so remaining in this stage. Got 2 distinctive packs. We've got the leader who's kind of off in the zone zip code. He's got 1.3 seconds over P2 Jeffrey Souza. And then from Souza, say, all the way back to 7th, these guys are pretty tight. Then it starts to kind of stagger out a little bit. It's Derek Heitman now coming along the outside of the 11 of Don Avery. This is going to be for 4th place.
Yeah, Don Avery has been, we're talking about the triad machines, all kind of running very similar setups here tonight. Don Avery's been looking really, really strong along with those other triad cars and definitely turning towards the front here. Of course, at the end of stage 1, he was pretty already close to the front. I do believe was in 3rd or 4th. Now he's finding himself back up into that position, able to get right back around Heitman. But Heitman going to try to cross over here, side by side still, and look at the run. I do believe Don Avery must have gotten loose on exit there, had to lift up a little bit on that gas pedal.
Well, you kind of got to wait until it's set before you throttle back in, and I think now Avery is probably starting to experience just a little bit more. He might have got a little bit too much heat on those right rear tire, so he's probably starting to feel it a little bit. Got to kind of slow off a little bit, get some heat out of the tire, that way he could actually get back in there. But it might be just a little bit too late, also, Brian.
Yeah, all the spots he just gained back. I mean, he was right there, knocking on the door of the 4th place position. Now has lost it to Matt DeCiani. Now falls back to 6th, and everybody behind Don Avery probably licking their chops. They're like, he's trending loose. I'm going to get some positions here if I just stay patient here. But that also could cause some guys to even burn their tires up a little bit too much because they see that carrot on a stick right in front of them and they start to chase it.
Yeah, quit calling it a carrot.
What would it be? A big slab of meat on a stick?
Yeah. Meat on a stick, man.
I'll tell you what, if it was some of that meat from Texas de Brazil, I would be chasing it.
Yeah, that's kind of the mentality that you got to have here. These guys are warriors. That's what they're going for. So, yeah, you do kind of get that when you can start to see that you're gaining, whether that's through telemetry or whatever. You definitely want to kind of put the hammer down a little bit more. As Avery having to get out of it because he ran right up onto the back of Matt DeCiani there, and that actually caused Greg Wachinski to check up as well. But now Wachinski trying to make his move coming along the high side of the 11 of Don Avery. Hopefully these two can actually maintain that distance right there. Didn't pinch him. Wachinski got pinched a little bit earlier, but he actually did not pinch Avery, so that's actually pretty cool.
And also behind them, you see John Mullins and Mark Sanchez battling it out. Sanchez starting to trend a little bit more forward here. As I was like, ooh, Mullins gets really loose on the exit of 2.
Yeah, Sanchez, I thought was going to be up front a little bit more. But yeah, definitely hadn't found the rhythm I think that he's looking for. Maybe his car he's going to show us here in the next stage.
Well, I mean, and also we saw him qualify 3rd, but maybe this is all according to plan. He's been saving, trying to save that tire, and he's running back up to Kenny Powell and company up here. These guys are struggling a lot harder than I'd say he is. Well, I say that, and he gets a little bit loose off of the corner, but wasn't too dramatic of a loose condition.
Yeah, just like that, man. My poor friend Paul Osen's finding some bad juju, man. He's the only driver right now that's in over 32 seconds on the lap, so he definitely hit a brick wall right there. So,
what's really crazy here? We were talking about Mark Sanchez probably knowing exactly what he's doing. Well, it's looking like he is trending in the wrong direction here. We were looking at him last time we looked towards the front. It was 1.3 seconds that he had on Jeffrey Souza. Now only a half of a second. Souza is running him down. Looking at lap times here, Mark Paget 31.6.
Oh, you call Mark Paget Mark Sanchez.
Oh, I do apologize. Mark Paget, our leader.
Yeah. Because I was looking, I was like, yeah. Sanchez is trending the wrong direction as well.
Yeah, but look at this, though. I mean, Jeffrey Souza is running down Mark Paget here. I'm wondering if Paget maybe burned his equipment up a little bit too much.
Well, he was rolling. I mean, he had the throttle down, and I mean, he was just out there having a good old time. But, if you dance to the music, you got to pay the piper. And that's exactly what he's doing right now because, here comes the 24. Powell, he 3 wide at the start-finish line. Oh, he gets
big problems.
Avery.
Don
Avery. Mark Sanchez and Don Avery both going, looks like they're taking a ride on that one. That was the pain train right there. No good. Powell had a heck of a run there if we're going to go back and watch that.
Oh, we're definitely going to go back and watch this and see exactly what happened. I think it all kind of kicked off like you were seeing. Kenny Powell taking him 3 wide on the bottom. Looks like Avery got really loose, and that's what kind of lined this up for Kenny Powell. And then a little bit of a contact there. Sanchez, just nothing he could do in that situation.
Yeah, he got done dirty. I guess that's the opposite of the dirty Sanchez.
He just was coming up on this ordeal, and Avery came down, clipped him. Both of them getting to the outside wall incredibly hard. Would not be surprised to see if these guys having some issues with their suspension or their toe links. But it looks like 31 running in the right direction here. He's got some damage, though, that's for sure.
Yeah, Don Avery is the recipient of a meatball flag, but looks like Sanchez is going to skate through right now. Avery is just disconnected, so I don't think he is going to be having any more fun with us this evening.
Definitely an unfortunate incident.
This racing incident, But look at what's happening here, Brian. You see what I'm seeing?
Everyone taking it down pit road.
The only one electing to stay out is the 44 Randy Drumhiller, but everyone else is coming to pit road. And that's awesome because we'll be 5 laps remaining in the stage at the line, which means these guys probably aren't going to pit they're probably not, well, they're not going to pit at the end of the stage is what's going to happen. Now, if Drumhiller can actually maintain pace with track position and stay out front for 5 laps, that might work out in his favor. especially if there's another caution, because you know we say this all the time. It's almost like when you're drinking beer and then you drink, and then when you go to the bathroom. You understand what I'm saying?
You're gonna have to keep going. Hey,
Exactly.
while everybody's off pit road, you know, we saw that incident. Why don't we dial up Kenny Powell and see what he thought about it? You want to talk to Kenny there, Big Al?
Hey, Kenny Powell, is Big Al up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you, Big Al.
Hey, what happened?
Well, I don't know. I was working on doing a pass with Greg Wachinski. I go to the inside, and then I see a car a little sideways and parked in front of me. So I checked up and went to the grass to avoid him.
Okay, so basically what had happened was Avery got a little bit loose, and that caused you and Wachinski to kind of sandwich him there, and kind of got in the grass. But a very interesting turn of events there. So how's that hot rod handling for you tonight?
I'm liking the way she's handling. I think I might have a podium here.
Oh, that's a bold prediction. I like it. So I like the strategy to actually come in and short pit the stage. Way to go there. We'll be watching to see if you can actually make that track condition work out for you. Anything else you want to say to us while we got you here before I let you go?
Not just thank you guys in the booth, the G&G team, and we'll see what we can do to for the rest of this thing.
All right, we'll be looking for you on the podium, man. Good luck.
Appreciate it.
Always great to talk to Kenny Powell. Definitely unfortunate incident there. I'm sure his car's no worse for wear. Sometimes you're the bug, sometimes you're the windshield, and he, you know, just unfortunate that Don Avery got loose when he did. Pace car lights are out. Green flag's going to be back waving. What's really going to be interesting about this, though, Randy Drumhiller is on really, really old tire.
Well, that could potentially be the cause, you know, or contributing to the next caution, as the pace car will be getting out the way, and Drumhiller, who has 26 laps on his tires, will actually be leading this field through the Geico restart zone. Hopefully he can keep it straight, right?
Green flag is back out in the air. Randy Drumhiller guns it. Definitely a good restart for him. I'm just curious how it's going to look into turn one. We saw how the tires are wearing. Very much a lot of wear, so I would not be surprised he's going to get encapsulated by all these drivers. He gets really tight in 1 2, 3 wide. Jeffrey Souza almost taking the lead here. Mark Patchett battling it out.
Yeah, everybody is going to be, these guys are hunting dogs right now. Everybody's going to be running, trying to make up track position, especially with good tires. No reason to pit, so they got to let it hang out here a little bit. Nothing to lose here, Brian. It's the 5 of Wachinski high on the outside. He is coming around the 76 of Heitman. These two right here battling for what would be 5th place.
Yeah, everybody, you know, he smelt blood in the water like a bunch of sharks just started pouncing on, you know, Randy Drumhiller. But, I mean, Drumhiller probably, you know, risking it for the biscuit, trying to get those points, you know, for leading the lap, as we see also Andrew Griesbaum doing battle with Derek Heitman.
Well, he is falling all the way back from 1st to 14, so obviously that was not the call of the race.
No, definitely not. Al Kozlowski right now side by side with John Mullins. Everybody with those fresh tires now, I mean, there's no risk in it.
Well, I think Drumhiller might be onto something here, though, Brian. Ooh, it's the 78 of Griesbaum gets it down there on that line. That's going to allow the 24 of Powell to run by him on the inside. Powell all the way up to 6th place now. Here comes Al Kozlowski putting his hat into the ring as he slides on by the 76 of Derek Heitman.
Yeah, this run right here benefits anybody that is good on the short run, because these guys don't have to be concerned about tires. I mean, I would assume everybody's probably going to be bringing it down once stage 2 is over. We got 5 sets of tires down in the pits. You know what? I think that's plenty of tires to play around with, so I don't really blame these guys for making that call. Now, what was the thing you were talking about with Randy Drumhiller? He's on to something.
Well, he's going to pit anyway, and I think a lot of these guys might stay out, you know, just so they can just wait and pit their own schedule, which will put him, you know, 5 laps to the good.
Here comes Jeffrey Souza on the inside, going to be trying to take the lead away, and it looks like he's going to be able to do it.
So that tells us that Souza has a very fast, short distance hot rod. We
He
got to
definitely
take this into
does.
consideration because, you know, if we do find ourselves where the caution comes out late into the race, what gives us an idea of what to expect is, I mean, everything. Greg Wachinski's pulling up to the back of Wayne Grossi.
Grossi throwing the block.
Well, it's time to block. This is the last lap, so be one more to go here. That's the 24 of Powell now. Oh, they're going to get 3 wide in there. Keselowski
There's
gets
a wreck.
into Wachinski and takes out the 24. The G&G guys kind of just took themselves out right there if you want to look at that
Oh,
one more
man.
again. And so close to the end of the stage as well.
You see Grossi, I think, kind of almost was the domino here in this thing because he got loose off the bottom, got up into Wachinski a little bit, and caused Wachinski to have to lift. And then all heck breaks loose. All the G&G guys getting into one another. I mean, Al Keselowski, blood was in the water. He's like, I'm getting positions here.
Yeah, that's just one of those racing deals, man, but that's one of those very unfortunate set of circumstances. A lot of drivers actually just tore up their stuff, and that's going to put us at the end of the stage as well. So it looks like Jeffrey Souza is going to get that stage 2 win. Mark Paget will be in second. Matt DeCiani in third. Wayne Grossi in fourth. Andrew Griesbaum, in fifth. Andrew Layton in sixth. John Mullins, seventh. Al Keselowski still comes home in eighth with Josh Schaffner in ninth. And Derek Heitman is going to round out those top 10 point span positions. Well, with that said, Brian, I think we need to go ahead and take another brief step away, get a word from our sponsor, and then we'll come back and see if we can't pull up Jeffrey Souza.
Butt kicker. Feel what you've been missing. Get yours today at thebuttkicker.com and be sure to use our 20% discount promo code ISCA20.
And we are back, and look at that. Race 1 off of pit road there for Mark Paget. Of course, Jeffrey Souza actually wins stage number 2. Let's go ahead and grab him up and talk to our stage 2 winner.
Hey, sir.
All righty, we got Jeffrey Souza up in the booth. Unfortunately, you lost the race off of pit road there to Mark Paget, but you did win stage number 2. How's that car feeling? Looks like it's feeling pretty good.
Feeling a lot better than it has all week long, for sure. It's been a struggle. Been a struggle to say the least, but I think it's close enough to where it needs to be.
Do I know that Mark Paget's running a similar setup to you, and you were catching him there on the longer run in that stage number 2. Do you think that you're going to be trending good towards the longer run, better than that 0-2 later?
Yeah, I'm hoping. At the end of that last, I've been struggling this week to save tires, so to be able to be with him there on that long run, it to me showed that I'm doing a lot better now than I have been. Taking those 2 tires on that stage caution right there, honestly made the car feel the best it's felt all night. So I made some changes accordingly, and hopefully that'll help keep it in the track a little bit more in 3 for the long run.
All right, man. Well, we wish you the best of luck. Who can we give a mini shout-out to before we let you get back to the racing?
Everyone at Triad, Souza Media, and Stanley for everyone, what everyone does to help the team.
All right, Jeffrey. Well, we'll see you hopefully at the end of this thing. Good luck to you.
10-4. Thank you, guys.
That was Jeffrey Souza, our stage 2 winner. Now Mark Paget going to have the field in hand as the pace car lights are out, getting ready to get this thing back underway.
Man, so that stage in it with a couple of bangs and a pow. So now
literally a pal, literally. I mean,
yeah. probably changed a lot of people's minds. Hopefully, it won't change their positions too much. We're just gonna have to see how this works out. The lights are off on the pace car. He is going to be getting out the way. Mark Paget back on his usual spot on the throne here is going to lead to that Geico restart zone.
Now, we did see him on the longer run start to trend, backwards. So I have to wait and see what Mark Paget can, do. Did they make any adjustments there? Green flag, of course, is back out in the air. They're entering turn 1 here. Andrew Griesbaum side by side with Matt DeCiani.
Yeah, and right behind those guys is the 88 of Al Kozlowski. He really did not get the best of a restart there, but then he picked up quite a bit of speed there going down the backstretch.
Also, some big moves going on for Derek Heitman. He just worked his way around John Mullins here, working his way up into, I do believe, 8th place.
Kozlowski drives deep into turn 2.
Trying to clear Andrew Griesbaum. I'm hoping that Al Kozlowski made some adjustments to that car, because we saw that he was struggling a lot on the long runs. It looks like he has definitely got a lot more confidence in the race car than he did, I'd say, in stage 2.
Well, yeah, definitely, but it's still early on, and that's when his car was fast, Brian. So, hopefully he might alter his, pace a little bit, if you will. Maybe conserve his equipment if he did not make those adjustments.
Yeah, because right now he has worked his way all the way up to the 5th position. See Wayne Grossi trying to work on the inside of the 1, not able to get the door open and actually step through it, though.
Yeah, the race is definitely on. These guys are rolling through this one like it's 10 to go. So they're definitely trying to get that track position, and they want to get those passes made while they still got good rubber on those cars, because once those tires kind of fade, then it probably isn't going to be a whole lot of passing going on. But if you can wheel and deal, this is the time to do it right here.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of guys probably seeing a little, acts of desperation. They see, that now we have 90 laps to go, a little under 90 laps to go, and but still a long way to go. I mean, I don't know if really burning them up is the right call, but I do get that track position is going to be hard to get. But then, it's a really hard thing to judge. I mean, we see guys like Josh Schaffner where he saves constantly, and sometimes that's not the way to go. That's kind of the extreme, but then you got the other side of the extreme, which is like an Al Kozlowski, to where he drives it and burns the tires off of it. So you want to be somewhere in the middle there. I'd say competitive, but still have saving in your mind.
Yeah, the 7 of Wayne Grossi drives it real deep in on the 1 of Matt DeCiani, and that's going to allow a little bit of competition between these two. And Al Kozlowski is just kind of lying in wait. Yeah, I think he was going to take whoever gets the advantage, and he's going to try to drive around the inside. But here comes Grossi and DeCiani. They're going to be side by side here coming across the line. Matt DeCiani scored the favor, but here comes Grossi driving deep into turn 1. Can he make it stick?
Looks like he's going to try to do a slide job here. Slides up right in front of the 1. The 1 gets into the rear end a little bit. Now here comes the 7 blocking. Some big moves here. This is, wow. These guys are fighting for every spot.
He had to defend for the crossover. That's exactly what he did,
DeCiani probably not liking that too much, though. Let's look at that. DeCiani trying again to go to the top, but just not able to get it done. This is going to open the door for Al Kozlowski.
Yeah, Grossi driving deep into the turn there, and that is kind of what really is causing DeCiani to kind of have to hold back a little bit. But Grossi just sets it out, and he kind of gets an early run as DeCiani touches that line, and that line will make you wobble. Wobble, 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 wobble.
Yeah, I just feel like the 1 just has not had the best car here tonight. I mean, it just seems like he has been struggling a little bit, So it looks like they maybe missed the mark a little bit coming here to Texas.
Yeah, the 31 of Sanchez definitely falling back there. He is now hanging back with Paul Osen. Mark Sanchez being shown a lap down.
Yeah, and of course, Mark Sanchez involved in an accident previously, so probably still feeling the, the consequences of that.
Yeah, I was just kind of saying that, he kind of fared a lot worse than, like, say, Powell and Keselowski did in Wachinski's. They were all just, Keselowski way out of sorts there. That's going to put him down on the inside. So back to that whole thing of, kind of burning that equipment up. I think he is starting to definitely feel that now.
Yeah, one thing that has kind of been like a rule, unwritten rule, with all, pretty much every series, oval series, I should say, the first 5 laps are so important. If you mistreat that tire in the first 5 laps when it's cold, then you could end up blistering that tire or, burning it off a little bit prematurely. But if you kind of gradually let the tire get some heat in it, then, it works out a lot better. I don't think Al Keselowski's doing exactly that. I think that he's just driving a little too hard.
Yeah, speaking of that, we are halfway through this contest, ladies and gentlemen. That means we got about 82 laps remaining in this thing. But it looks like the 5 of Wachinski and the 24 of Powell are still making really good pace. They're both sub 31 lap times, which is awesome. Only 2 cars not sub 31 will be Paul Olsen and Mark Sanchez.
Yeah, I would say that they still are probably feeling somewhat of the consequences of that accident. But, I mean, yeah, it could be worse. They could be sitting in the, Mark Sanchez's position. And, luckily they still have somewhat competitive cars. I mean, you see Greg Wachinski able to get around Josh Schaffner. Schaffner has just not shown a lot of pace here tonight.
Yeah, but I think he wants to go, consistently faster longer. I think he's just
I get that, but I think that he's saving even too much in a lot of ways. Just considering we've already seen, runs that, went 35 laps, and he was nowhere to be found in the top, 5. I mean, it just doesn't seem like. I think he's trending in the wrong direction. Maybe he's saving a little too much. I mean, I think there's a such thing, and usually that benefits him, but it does not seem like it's benefiting him tonight. I'll tell you what, Grossi's been looking really good tonight, that 7.
You're an angry little fella tonight.
I'm an angry little fella, huh? No, I'm just saying it's kind of, I'm just noticing the trend here that, you want to kind of be in the middle somewhere, not save too much, but not also be overly aggressive. I just feel like, we usually see Schaffner, that really benefits him, and we've seen him at Richmond, Bristol, even though he did have some unfortunate stuff happen at Bristol, he was one of the guys that was saving, and it really seemed like it was helping out quite a bit. And what's really interesting, Big Al, is the parallel between, or not really the parallel, but the difference in, our ISCA race at Bristol and the NASCAR race at Bristol, much different. Their tires weren't wearing hardly in that race in real life, but here it was wearing a whole lot.
Well, one thing, too, I mean, the sim really didn't have real good data as far as what Bristol asphalt looked like, concrete, because that's one thing that we hadn't seen yet. So they kind of had to make up the numbers, and, sometimes they're going to be off a little bit.
Well, I feel like that they would have, they should have, I think the racing that they had on the service is actually better than the one they had in real life. Maybe NASCAR should maybe look at iRacing and model their tire model after that as the 76 up onto the rear end of the 78. So
he'll be taking that pass here real quick momentarily. Griesbaum not going to block him. I think Heitman definitely has position down on the inside, and Mullins is definitely going to try to follow suit. Griesbaum has been getting a little bit loose there. Now he's running considerably higher up the track here. Going to give these guys plenty of room to get by.
Yeah, I've been seeing a whole lot of pace out of John Mullins, and I've been surprised to see it, just considering, lately he has not been having a lot of great races. He's been kind of missing the mark, but it looks like he's definitely got that, that team back on track. Kenny Powell with a little bit of a blinking issue here. goes the 76, getting right around Al Kozlowski, now taking over that 5th position. Kozlowski's been doing considerably better, I'd say, on saving the equipment. I mean, we saw in that first stage he fell all the way to the rear, but looks like he's able to keep that track position. Maybe just, learning. I mean, as you turn, circuits around this place, you do get better. Looking at the track facts, also the track has cooled down a little bit there, Big Al. The wind has decreased quite a bit. 97-degree track temp. Definitely got to be, guys got to be loving that, wouldn't you say? Track temp's decreasing a little bit, probably gives a little bit more grip.
Yep. And the 5 of Wachinski is finally going to get around the 78-degree spot, and Kenny Powell looks like he has got plenty of pace remaining here. As Powell's last lap was 31.526, so he definitely faster than the leader, Mark Paget, on that last lap. So I think he might have fixed whatever woes he had, and he might actually be on the podium.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely could be. Looking at the lap times, he's about 0.2 faster than our leader, along with, Greg Wachinski. Both of these guys are showing some phenomenal pace right now, and I thought the damage was going to be affecting them more than it is, but luckily, looks like that's not the case. So, these next-gen cars are pretty hardy and, definitely some stout racing machines, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Well, Mark Paget has all but dominated this race. Of course, did not win stage number 2, but he's led the majority of the laps. He's actually led 89 laps here tonight out of 97, so definitely a lot of laps led there. Started on the pole and is currently up in the lead. He's got about 7/10, almost 8/10 back there to Jeffrey Sousa, actually Wayne Grossi. I have just been so impressed with this 7. I mean, I don't know if it's – I don't like the paint scheme change, but whatever he's doing it right. I don't know if he's joined Gator Racing, maybe if that's a new team that, or what, but he is definitely showing considerable pace tonight. Been so impressed.
Yeah, absolutely. And I told you, he was actually showing considerable pace during practice as well, so way to go, Wayne Grossi.
And, he's always been good at a lot of these mile-and-a-half tracks. But, I mean, he's running second right now. Has got a good shot at getting the podium here tonight. But then again, we got to keep in mind, I mean, green flag pit stops, with the way this racing is looking right now, it looks like it could be a factor. And we know how tricky those can be. I mean, if you make a mistake, that's all it takes.
Yeah, these drivers are definitely going to have to stretch it out on the stint, though, in order to make it work. They're going to definitely have to try to push it as close to 49 as they can.
Yeah, for sure. And right now we're 27 laps into this run. So, I'd say probably in the next, few laps, probably next 10, maybe a little bit more. Well, maybe even 15, to be honest with you. I mean, it just depends if these guys want to split it in half. Do we see any kind of, wiggle room on that strategy? Do guys go a little bit early? Do they go later? I think this is a track to where when you go later, that actually would be a good call because, the tires mean so much that when you get out there on the new ones, you're going to be running people down. So I know you're always one that loves that strategy too, that, you run it out until it's almost out of gas and then bring it down pit road. I think that would be the perfect strategy for tonight's race.
But yeah, that way you don't have to spend as much time there.
Man, what a lead Mark Paget has right now. Almost a second over Wayne Grossi. Looking at lap times here, everybody trending towards those 32-second laps. Mark Paget, 31.8. Wayne Grossi, 31.9. Jeffrey Sousa, 32 flat. And we got Derek Heitman. He's making some moves here. Also, I think Al Kozlowski truly has gotten better on the longer run here. I don't know if he did make an adjustment, but he's trending to where he looks like he might have a top 5 car tonight.
Well, you know who doesn't do good on the long run? That's been the 2 of Mark Paget. So, it's going to be interesting to see how Wayne Grossi navigates that gap that they have between them right now, because we have seen Paget start to kind of lose it a little bit as the run runs longer.
Very interesting, though, to keep an eye on these guys. Looking at Kenny Powell and Greg Wachinski, they're running about the same times that these guys up here in front are, but, going to be having to work hard to try to make up that distance.
I think there's going to be a lot of action happening on pit road when they do decide to pit. That's what we're going to be watching. Hopefully, everybody can maintain and will actually be able to experience green flag pit stops.
And here comes Derek Heitman on the inside of Jeffrey Souza. It looks like he's going to get that pass completed. Now works his way up into the top 3 for the first time this evening. Derek Heitman showing some really good speed there in that 76.
64 John Mullins trying to get around the 24 Kenny Powell. Powell got a little bit loose there just on that last lap, and that did allow the 64 as well as the 44 to kind of close the distance on him.
Also, Randy Drumhiller right now in the top 10. Really close to the back bumper there of the 24. The 44 has been having a phenomenal night, has just been showing a lot of consistency, and I think that's what leads to success in a lot of cases in the ISCA. Because, this is one, this league here, this series, contains some of the best drivers on iRacing. We got guys that are 6,000 and more iRating.
Yeah, I think the one thing, though, that definitely sets this league apart from the others is they've got, Big Al and Brian Britt.
Yeah, that's what that's what it is. All these guys are fighting hard to talk to us. Wayne Grossi getting a little bit loose off of turn 2. As we see Derek Heitman working on getting to that 7. Looks like he's going to get there probably sooner rather than later, as the gap, I do believe, is only a couple tenths right now. Jeffrey Souza soon to be under fire from Al Kozlowski. I'll tell you what, I am very impressed with that 88 tonight. He looked like he didn't have the right mindset in stage 1, but I think that as this race has gone on, he has, gotten the muscle memory down. He's gotten the rotations around this place. He's done it enough to where he knows how to save that equipment, and I've been very impressed with, the change. Imagine that, Big Al, and only in one race, go from stage 1 to where he burns his stuff up, drops to the rear of the field, and now he's fighting for 4th.
But that's what I said, though. You really want to use stage 1 to do that, so you can get that data. 64 John Mullins being one of the first ones to actually come down pit road. Not sure if that's going to be. Man, I think he's going to have to stop he's going to have to stop at least one more time, Brian.
Yeah, I think maybe his calculator might be a little off there, because he is definitely not within the window.
But maybe he could not wait anymore.
Randy Drumhiller also putting a lot of pressure on this 24. Kenny Powell definitely struggling a little bit here. We also saw Josh Schaffner just get a little bit loose off the corner.
Man, the 88 and the 14 are definitely doing the two-step cha-chas. These two side by side battling each other here. I think they're just going to be going at it here for the foreseeable future.
Does look like it's going to be the case, as Al Kozlowski does have the advantage, it does seem, though.
Both of them getting a little bit loose there as they're drag racing down the backstretch.
Looks like Keselowski has gotten the pass completed.
Nope,
We'll see. I think Souza I think Souza's going to get a run. I don't think it's going to be enough, though. I think Al's got it.
No, I don't think this battle's over. I think Souza's definitely going to try to set him up to get back around him. But everybody right now is definitely, keeping the eye on the tires because this is the longest run that they've made thus far tonight here. I mean, they're 5 laps longer on their equipment. Still having to go at least almost another 10 to just to be able to solidify making it on fuel here. This is going to be a tricky situation, Brian.
It definitely will be, but look at Al Keselowski now up to the back of the 7 here, fighting for the top 3. Keselowski wants to talk to us tonight, it does appear, but of course we do still have those green flag pit stops you were just kind of talking about. We're soon to be having to deal with that. I mean, these guys are going to be coming down any time now. We're getting really, really close to the, fuel window opening. Of course, to remind everyone, 49 laps is the fuel run. Of course, that could be plus or minus depending on how you've been in a draft or whether you've been really going hard.
Yeah, the big delta is going to be how long do how well is your car performing right now with 40 plus laps on the tires. If your car is a handling dream, then you're not going to want to make any major adjustments. You know what I mean? You want to try to keep that car around that 40 plus lap window there to get your hot rod status, because that's where you're going to be at the end of this thing should it go green.
Yeah, for sure. And think about it, making those adjustments on that race car, it could go bad, just considering you could it takes time to actually make adjustments on pit road too. I mean, it's not just like a thing to where you put it in and they automatically. Now tire pressure, that's a different story. But like when you're having to put a round or something of wedge or spring perch or anything like that, that takes time to actually do that. And of course, also you could make the wrong adjustment. But man, I'm loving what I'm seeing from this 76. He has almost caught the 0-2 of Mark Pageant. This is going to be some really good racing, but of course, fuel window, I think in the next couple laps is going to be open, and I don't think we see these guys. I think in the next 5 laps we're going to be going down.
Oh, the 64, John Mullins is going to enter into the equation as he remembers on fresh tires, so he just thread the needle there between the 14 and the 7 of Grassi.
Now, of course, he does not have enough fuel to make it to the end, but this is definitely a good representation of what the new tires can do for you.
Yeah, these guys just got to hold off a couple more laps here before they're actually going to be clear to go to the end of this thing.
Derek Heitman, though, is almost at the back bumper. This is really the race to watch here as we're having a fight for the lead.
And as that battle gets ready to intensify, here comes the 64, John Mullins, who's just going to make it even more sporty. Randy Drumhiller down pit road.
Yep, looks like he is deciding to pit now. Of course, the fuel window should be open, so he should be good to go. And there's the 64 of John Mullins on the fresh tires. Has already ran down these leaders and getting ready to take his lap back. And look at that. Puts them 3 wide as Derek Heitman challenges for the lead. I think he's got it. He's going to slide up right in front of the 0-2. The 2 gets really loose there on exit.
The 14 and the 5 both down pit road. So, yeah, green flag pit stops definitely underway here. The 43 of Paul Osen is way off the pace. He's down pit road.
Here comes Mark Pageant, I should say. I don't know why I keep doing that. But Mark Pageant heading down pit road, too. He's right behind Paul Olsen, who you just mentioned. Derek Heitman right now, your leader, should be coming down any moment also.
Yeah, it's time to stop. Might as well go ahead and bring her on in, boys.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it. I mean, there really wasn't a whole lot of wiggle room with your strategy on pit road, just considering, you know, they're on lap 49. You know, Wayne Grossi just hit 49. And, of course, the fuel window is about 49, so I do believe everybody's going to be forced to come down quickly. Oh, Derek Heitman misses his box, has to kick it into reverse. He's going to be kicking himself over that.
That is not going to work out in his favor. You still got 3 cars that are still out there rolling. That's the one of Matt DeCiani, Wayne Grossi, and Josh Hoffman. Grossi down pit road.
Along with Matt DeCiani right there in front of him. So I think the last person out is still Josh Schaffner.
And he is going to be trying to get down to pit road.
Yeah, you see all the guys on fresh tires coming up on him right now.
Yeah, he's just got to make sure that he gets down on that line.
Yeah, here he comes. He's going to be coming down right now. Matt DeCiani and Wayne Grossi racing off of pit road right here.
With the pits window being where it was, is one of those things where you really now, you know, you might, I don't know, you just had to go in. You know, I mean, everybody had to kind of come in because you're all going to be equally fast. It's just going to be about who's going to be faster longer, I guess.
Yeah, definitely all going to be about the long run, and I think a lot of these guys have gotten that somewhat figured out. Still up in the air, who's really going to be able to win this race? I mean, we saw Derek Heitman towards the long run there take the lead, but of course he also missed his box and lost a precious second on pit road, which could add up. That could be huge implications there.
Yeah, and also you got to understand that we've only got 2 cars that are not on the lead lap out of the 16 that started this thing. So, I mean, it is still up in the air because, you know, we still very well could have a late race caution.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't be surprised if we did. Of course, John Mullins right now is your leader. He is not good to go on fuel, though. He's also at a bit of a tire deficit. Last time by 31.3 versus Mark Pageant, who just came off pit road not long ago, 30.3. So that's a second faster. He's going to catch him pretty fast here. Only about 8.7 seconds between these two.
Yeah, plus he's got 17 to be 18 laps on his tires at the line. So, you know, he has really kind of put himself out there on a different schedule than everybody else. Actually, here comes John Mullins now down pit road.
Yeah, he definitely put himself at a big disadvantage by going down so early. I'm just wondering, maybe the crew chief, maybe miscommunication there.
That's why they call them strategies. As the 88 is now slowly rolling up onto the back of the 76 of Derek Heitman. Al Kozlowski doing everything he can to get up here on the podium, having a heck of a night. I mean, even
he really
involved,
is.
Yeah, even involved in a little bit of a scuffle, which was not his fault. It looked like Avery got a little bit loose.
Yeah, he has definitely had a phenomenal showing. That 88, I mean, just, I don't know, maybe he took that week off. I don't think we saw him at Bristol last week. Maybe he got his head right. You know, sometimes a little bit of break is what you need. I know, you know what I mean, Big Al?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
As you see the 76 and the 88 are really starting to run closer and closer to that 14. The 14 getting really tight out of 2 there. Almost gets into the wall. I think we're getting ready to have a battle for the top 2 here shortly.
I was going to say loose.
Well, I mean, I just thought tight because he got real close to the wall. But he definitely could have been in a loose condition trying to catch it. As we see the 76 gets on the inside here. Going to be
88's
challenging for second.
88's going to be trying to run right in there with him.
Yeah, the 88 sees the door open. He's going to want to try to follow him through. And the thing about it, if these guys start battling more and more, Greg Wachinski's right back there in 5th.
And just like that, Al Kozlowski has moved himself up onto the podium. Now, we've seen him in the 14 and battle earlier in the race here, so I don't think those two are going to. Ooh, he drives it deep into the turn there on 76.
What a move, and that is stuck, too. It's stuck. I'm surprised that car stuck as well as it did, as Al Kozlowski now up to second place.
Yeah, he definitely saw an opportunity there, Brian, and then he rolled right into it. Now, this makes it interesting because we know that Mark Padgett doesn't run well on long runs.
He does have a substantial, I'd say, cushion right now, though. 3.3 seconds between him and Al Kozlowski. So is that enough? And also, you see lap traffic. That's going to come into play here for Al Kozlowski. He's coming up to Mark Sanchez here shortly. Definitely an interesting picture is being painted right now in front of our eyes.
Yeah, I don't think he'll have any trouble getting around Mark Sanchez, and I don't believe that the 64 of John Mullins is even going to be around. Because Mullins, being pretty much on fresh tires. But he has definitely given himself some breathing room between him and the third-place car of Derek Heitman. But Heitman having a phenomenal run here this evening as well. And I'm glad that he has lasted as long as he has, because a lot of times Derek is up front, man, and he's running strong, and then at the end he just kind of washes up,
Yeah, or he just gets involved in something, just it happens, but it's just one of them things, even though you might not necessarily think a wreck is your fault, a lot of times you put yourself in that spot, though. I mean, that's one thing that I kind of always been taught in iRacing or racing in general. Like, even though, it might not necessarily be your fault, but you still have some responsibility in it because you were right there when you shouldn't have been.
Yeah, 99% of this is wreck avoidance, and that comes from having a vision. And you want your driver, or as a driver, you got to be able to see your way around the track. I mean, that is the easiest way I think I could articulate that.
Yeah, just you kind of got to look out in front at what's going on. Don't look at the car in front of you. Look further than that. You got to look as far as you can see, essentially, to make sure that are aware of what's going on in front of you.
Yeah, because you're covering so much ground so fast that, it's just, there's a lot of things that you have to take into consideration when you're actually in the race car. It is definitely an art as well as a sport. I mean, you even take a fixed setup and look at the discrepancies between drivers' lap times, So, yeah, it's a science to this.
Very much so. Is battle not over for second place, though, as the 76 catches back up to Al Kozlowski. One thing I'm noticing about Al is he takes really shallow entries into turn one, and I don't know if that's really a good thing, because you see the 76 really arcs it out, and I think that's what's given him a little bit better long run, as he's now on the inside into 3 and 4. Maybe that move that Al made will push his tires a little bit too much. Maybe a little bit too much heat in those tires. Maybe going to have to cool them off a little bit here, as we have, I do believe, now 20 laps to go.
30 laps to go.
Well, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry about that. That's that South Carolina education. They didn't teach us too good at math. I ain't got that many fingers.
No, it's all good.
Derek Heitman, though, has captured second place. And here comes Jeffrey Souza. Going to be trying to take that spot away back from Al Kozlowski. Hopefully Al's able to get those that tire cooled back down and get back into it. It looks like he's caught back up to the 76 again, so I don't know if he's done. I would not say he's done by a long shot. Here comes Jeffrey Souza on the inside, trying to challenge for third place.
Yeah, these two
goes high. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just looking for Mark Sanchez in the proximity to these guys.
Sanchez, I do believe, right now 5 laps down. Now, this is pretty much the closest battling on the racetrack. No one else is really this close to one another. I do see Greg Wychinski, I do believe Matt DeCiani somewhat close. Al Kozlowski comes really close to the back end of the 14.
Now, as these guys will be rolling up onto the back of Sanchez because he's a little bit slower. Now, that might actually be when we get to see this kind of mix up a little bit here with 27 to go in this thing.
Mark Pageant, last time we looked at him, had about a little bit over 3 seconds of a lead. Right now he's sitting at, I do believe, 2.6 seconds as he's actually under fire, I do believe, from Mark Sanchez here.
Well, he should have just passed Sanchez.
Of course, Sanchez suffering from some damage that he received earlier in the event.
Well, yeah,
qualified third.
I'm sorry, yeah, but ironically, Sanchez and the leader on that previous lap were only 1/10 of off each other's pace.
And there's still also the possibility of a yellow flag situation. I mean, you talked about it earlier about what if a guy that has superior short run, you know, comes out here and wins the race just because of a caution that came out with 10 to go. I mean, it's definitely something that could happen. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, my point is, you never know what could happen. I mean, it's not over until the fat lady starts to sing it.
Yeah, it's all within the realm of possibility. And why she got to be fat? Why can't she just be pleasantly plump?
She can be whatever you want her to be, Big Al.
PHAT fat. I got you. Pretty hot and tempting.
I've never heard that one before. That's a pretty good one.
Hey, you hanging around with Big Al. I'm going to learn you.
You're going to learn today.
Yeah, 23 laps remaining in this thing. Keselowski doing exactly what he needs to do. You know, right now it's just a saving game. And I think, you know, these guys are slowly reeling in Mark Pageant. You know, Derek Heitman now just 2.2 seconds back from the leader. And they're actually gaining time every lap. So, I mean, a lot of things are shaking up on the racetrack right here tonight, Mike.
Yeah, taking a look through the cockpit camera here, Derek Heitman, kind of see what a line or what a lap looks like through his eyes on these older tires. You're right. I mean, they're catching up to Mark Pageant. Only little over 2 seconds right now. I think it's very much in the realm of possibility Derek Heitman catches Mark Pageant. But you do see Mark Sanchez right there out in front of Derek Heitman.
Yeah, Sanchez just Sanchez was in a very unfortunate set of circumstances earlier on in the race. He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and that actually cost him a lot of time, and actually now he's some 3 laps down.
Yeah, some other guys, he's pulling down, looking like he was trying to go down pit road, but decided against it. He's going to be slow on the track.
Yeah, I don't know if he was trying to get out of the way or maybe trying. I'm not sure what his plan was.
Luckily, he did not bring a caution out. That could have been definitely changed everything.
He might be parking it. I think he might understand mathematically that, you know, this is as best as he's going to do is P15. So
unfortunate, you know, qualified third. Looked like he had a lot of pace, but just unfortunate. You know, like you said, got caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. Pageant, though, starting to almost, I think he's starting to try to break the draft on Derek Heitman, but I don't even think he's close enough to even have to worry about that right now. I think it's about when you get within a second, that's when the draft starts to really play that role. Maybe he just got loose. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely Derek Heitman chopping away at that lead, though.
Very much so. And he's driving away from Jeffrey Souza also. Got to talk about the quiet day that Matt DeCiani's had here tonight. Running in sixth. I mean, not a bad day. They missed the mark a little bit, but he's definitely recovered. And sixth is going to be pretty good, just considering Clayton Hoffman not here tonight. And also Derek Heitman. I mean, he's been doing phenomenal, but we also got to remember, Big Al, he missed his box and had to kick it in reverse. So he's kind of fighting blindfolded right now, or one hand tied behind his back, but he's still coming back here and has a chance to win this race.
Well, yeah, there's still 17 laps to go, which is still quite a ways. You know, so we just got to watch this thing right now and see how it plays out. As Mark Paget has about a 1.5 second average lead over P2.
There is a battle going on the racetrack. Wayne Grossi and Matt DeCiani fighting for fifth place side by side. Wayne Grossi on the inside, Matt DeCiani out on the top, and it looks like Grossi has the advantage up down there on the bottom.
Yeah, just got to give a shout out to those Triad guys, though. I mean, like, they're definitely doing pretty good here, and unfortunately, you know, their partner Avery kind of got taken out earlier, but yeah, they definitely have a pretty fast car here tonight, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, I would say they had an opportunity to maybe even lock down a 1, 2, 3. I mean, it was definitely possible.
Yeah, because right now you got Mark Paget in first and Jeffrey Souza now in third.
As now the gap has decreased even more. Only 1.2 seconds separate Mark Paget and Derek Heitman. As tire wear is starting to really show its ugly head here. 32-second laps these guys are hitting right now. As we close into the end, less than, I do believe, 13 to go. Mark Paget wishes, I bet, the caution would come out now, or the more like the checkered flag would start waving now.
Yeah, but he's just got to watch himself.
He's got to hold his mouth right.
I mean, this is the part where he kind of struggles the most, and we saw that happen earlier, but the person that passed him then was Jeffrey Souza, his own teammate. This time, the person who's trying to play spoiler is Derek Heitman. Now, I hope when these two do kind of catch up to each other, which it seems like that is inevitable, as the lead is now down for under 1 second from 3.3 seconds down to just under a second. So, yeah, I think it's just not a matter of if, but a matter of when Heitman catches Paget. How does that pass look? How does that whole process play out? That's what we're going to be waiting to see, Brian.
Very much so here as we're closing in. Now 11 laps to go. Next time by, got to be 10 laps to go. Can Mark Paget hold on?
Matt DeCiani's trying to. There's still a battle going on elsewhere around the racetrack, but right now I think the one that we do need to be watching is the distance between the 76 and the two-car Mark Paget. With 10 laps to go here, that is definitely going to be one of the biggest battles here that we're just waiting to come into fruition.
100%. Only 7/10 separating those two drivers right now. We still see the battle going on back here for that fifth spot. Greg Wychinski has entered the fray.
Yeah, he's been trying to sneak up on the one of DeCiani, but I think DeCiani definitely kind of has it. You know, he's just got to try to maintain there. But him and Grassi have been running consistently about where they're at here for a while.
I don't know. I mean, I want to bet that I think the 76 is going to run out of time. I mean, time is running out. What do you say? You know, it's really going to be interesting, though, Big Al.
What's that, Brian?
Next week we go to Talladega.
Talahoo?
Talladega. Going into your neck of the woods, Alabama.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, my safety rating can't handle Talladega.
Look at that. The 76 of Derek Heitman in spitting distance.
The one of Matt DeCiani gives the 7 a nudge. I don't think that was a playful nudge. He definitely kind of romped into the back of him there, got the 7 a little bit loose, but he had to back off as well, and that allowed the 5 of Greg Wyszynski to kind of sneak right back up into the fray.
Yeah, definitely looks like some trading paint going on back there. As we see the 76
6 laps to go.
All over the back end of the 0-2. Caution is out.
Whoa,
this is going to change everything.
Oh, that's the one thing we did not need to see, man. Mount Hurt Paget, Derek Heitman had just reeled him in.
Caution, I do believe, coming out as a result of Josh Schaffner here. Gets loose on the exit of 2. Hits the outside wall. Huge damage. Smashing that. Look at that car. The pieces just flying off of that car.
Yeah, he's the recipient of a meatball flag. And ladies and gentlemen, when we say meatball flag, that is the black flag with a red repair required dot in the middle of that, affectionately referred to by drivers as the meatball flag.
Well, with that caution coming out, Big Al, let's say we take one more break before we get this thing settled.
Yeah.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Jeffrey Souza takes the lead off of pit road. You know, one thing, though, Big Al, we talked about, or he actually mentioned himself earlier, he took 2 tires on one of these stops. I'm wondering if he just did that.
Yeah, as I was getting ready to say, he is the only driver that took 2 tires. Everybody else took 4. That's the huge lead that he got over the rest of the field coming out. And he said himself that car handled better than it did all night when he made the 2-tire change. Was watching everybody else though, they all took 4, so that's the difference. We're going to see how it plays out. as we will be 2 to go.
Yeah, I
Should
think
be a
it's going to
green-white
be
checker.
a green-white checkered. Definitely going to complicate things quite a bit here. We got some guys that are really good on this short run.
This is going to be our first.
Al Kozlowski here.
It's going to be our first green-white checker.
I mean, I got to say, my money's on Al Kozlowski. He's been so good on the short run. Also, Derek Heitman falling back all the way to 6th. I mean, he was fighting for almost a win there before that caution came out. Something went wrong on pit road there, Miguel?
He has trouble getting in his box.
Unfortunate. Pace car lights are still on. We should be going green here the next time by.
Man, so unfortunate there for a lot of people for a lot of different reasons right there.
100%.
You know, I hate it for Josh. You know, really probably, you know, he was running really good. Hate it for, man, everybody, really. I got a sneaky feeling, though, Brian, that this is not going to be the only. I think this is going to be our first green-white checker, but I don't think that we're going to. I don't think we're going to finish it.
We'll have to wait and see what happens here. Pace car lights are out. We're getting ready to get this thing back underway. What was a 167-lap race has just became a little bit longer.
Powell might be right. He might end up on the podium.
Back there, and I do believe starting 8th place. It's going to be a long journey to get up there. Yeah, I mean, I think what your point is the guys that are up front right now might not be up front whenever, if something happens, an accident.
Pure pandemonium.
Well, we're getting ready to see here as the green flag is soon to be waving as the pace car going to be heading down pit road.
They're going to be 3 wide into 1. Cold tires all the way around. It's going to be a shootout. But it's going to be a show.
And here we go. Green flag out in the air. Jeffrey Souza on 2 tires. Will it work for him? It looked like it worked for him at the conclusion of stage 2.
Heitman not getting the run that he wanted from the high line. Here comes Keselowski as he is trying to catch up to the 2.
The 7 of Wayne Grossi also throwing a little bit of blocks there on Greg Wyszynski.
Yeah, that caused Wyszynski to go way high. Here comes Powell. He's going to be looking to the inside of the 76. There it is.
3 wide. There's the accident. Caution is going to come out. The white flag did wave, so we're going to finish this.
Oh, wow. How unfortunate for those guys. But Jeffrey Souza's loving every minute of it.
Al Kozlowski trying to work on Mark Pageant. Final lap. Jeffrey Souza looks like he is going to be able to grab the victory. He was able to win stage 2, and now he's going to win the race. Look at Jeffrey Souza go. You kind of even said something earlier about, hey, you've been, you're always impressed with Souza. I think you might have called it some, maybe subtly that he's going to win this race.
Yeah, the 2-tire call, that was definitely the difference here. It got him a stage win, and it got him a race win here. So that's going to put Jeffrey Souza as your official race winner. Mark Pageant comes in second with Al Kozlowski. First time on the podium for a long time in third. Matt DeCiani in fourth. Andrew Layton fifth. Andrew Griesbaum sixth. Greg Wyszynski in seventh. Paul Olsen in eighth. John Mullins in ninth. And Kenny Powell rounds out your top 10.
11th place is going to be Randy Drumhiller. 12th, Wayne Grossi. 13th, Derek Heitman. Oh, man, Heitman had a chance to win this race, and unfortunately back there in 13th. That's crazy. Mark Sanchez, 14th, qualifying third. 15th, Josh Schaffner. 16th, Don Avery, of course, was out early due to an accident. Jeffrey Souza, though, man, what a phenomenal performance he had here tonight. We'll take one more brief step away, and we'll be right back with your post-race show.
Experience traditional Brazilian cuisine, served with the hospitality that Texas is famous for. Here at Texas de Brazil, you simply turn your card to green, and expert carvers serve you fine cuts of beef, lamb, pork, chicken, and Brazilian sausage. Turn your card to red when you want a break. Then repeat. Make reservations now at texasdebrazil.com.
Butt kicker. Feel what you've been missing.
I needed that.
And we are back, and as you can hear Al Kozlowski saying he needed that, and congratulations on your third place finish, man. I mean, just showed a lot of pace here tonight. I know you struggled early. We were kind of talking about that during the break. I mean, how big is this third place finish for you?
Well, I'm in a championship points here. I wanted to win, so it locked me into the next round, and I thought this was a track that certainly was going to be able to lock one in. I'm running that Reaper Speed Labs setup here, and it was pretty good, but it was so loose in the beginning, and I kept having to dump wedge into this thing and tire pressures and everything like that. And then it just came alive at the end.
Yeah, and it seemed like you know, for a lot of the time in the early portion of the run, you know, first 5 or 10 laps, you were really strong. You know, do you think that helped you out? You know, in that late race run, you know, that green white checkered, I should say, because we had a caution there towards the end.
Well, that green white checkered, I purposely didn't push it that much because I'd rather finish third than seventh, eighth, ninth, or something like that. So I didn't want to get into Souza or anybody. So I just kind of backed it down and said I'll just take my third. And I guess there was a wreck behind me, which helped me out quite a bit.
Yeah, there was quite the accident behind you. Definitely coming to the white flag. Luckily, they did cross the line, and the white flag did wave. Otherwise, a caution would have had another green-white checkered. You know, were you prepared for that occurrence if it did happen?
Always I start on that inside line. That bottom line is perfection for me. I can ride that bottom all the way around the turns pretty good. So that high side would have been a mess if I'd have been starting out there.
Yeah, and also, tell us about some of the difficulties of this track. I know 1 and 2 seemed like that was the challenge tonight, wouldn't you say?
Well, the difficulty is people check up differently, and there's a lot of brake. Some people really use a lot of brake in 1 and 2, and some people just barely tap it just to get the front end to sink down a little bit in that turn and then go off. But you got to be careful on that exit because that exit is treacherous. If you don't feather that gas coming off of that, if you just punch it, you're going around, and you stand a chance of taking others with you. That's what my big concern was. That's why early in the race I dropped way to the back. I didn't want to wreck anybody.
Yeah, definitely. We're great on that. We saw you, you know, get really, really loose there in the first stage, but you know, you fell back and respecting everybody else's race out there. Well, we're going to a place where I don't know if that's going to be necessarily the case. Talladega coming up next week. I mean, I think that's going to be, you know, your bread and butter right there, wouldn't you say?
Yes, sir. I think. Do I have a win there, or is it Daytona? One of those two tracks, I've got a win there, and I feel pretty confident. But that's a track that you got to have a dancing partner. So I didn't want to make any enemies at this track. So hopefully I got a dancing partner there. So I'm looking forward to it.
Wow, look at you thinking way ahead. I love it, man. Love what I'm seeing from Al Kozlowski tonight. He had great speed all night long. Definitely earned this third place, and almost could even possibly have won it if you know, things have went a little bit different. But definitely a great job to you, man. Who can we give a shout out to after your third place finish?
Again, I want to thank Boyd for putting me in this Reaper here. It's pretty good. And Speedway Angels, GNG, and you guys, as always, do a great job, and I can't wait to watch it again.
Well, we caught all the action of you driving your way up through the field. That's for sure. That's Al Kozlowski, our third place finisher. Thanks for your time. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys.
Next up, Big Al's going to have our second place finisher and the man that led the most laps here tonight, Mark Pageant.
Hey, Mark Pageant, Big Al up in the booth. You got me.
Yeah, I got you.
I mean, it's a heck of a tale that we're telling here tonight, boss. I mean, had that gone green, it would have been a little bit different story. Do you think you had enough to hold off Derek Heitman?
You know, it might have been the same story. Derek had quite a bit more tire than me. We were talking about it in the league chat in the session, but he did a great job of saving tires. So I think it would have been a good battle there the last 2 or 3 laps with him. But he had the advantage if he could have gotten around me. And then Jeff there with the 2 tires, he did it to me twice. He did it for the stage 2 win, and he did it for the end. First time I learned, second time I should have done it myself. So I should have taken 2 tires and kept the lead there.
Yeah, it cost you a stage victory, and then it cost you a victory at the end of this. But I mean, that was an awesome call. Actually, the only car in the field to take 2 tires there, and that was the Delta for him. But yeah, you were strong all night. Just seemed like you kind of fell off a little bit there on the longer runs. Was that the case that you felt down on the truck also with the car also?
Yeah, I definitely wasn't as good as Derek there on the long runs. He had a way of saving tires, something about the way he was driving. But he had me on the long run. Everyone else I was at least I think even with on the long run. But yeah, long run speed. I thought it was going to be a strength. I was really surprised by Derek's long run speed tonight.
Well, I'll tell you what, that triad setup that you guys had there tonight, it looks like you guys were all very strong. I mean, had Don Avery not gone out, I mean, you were probably looking at possibly having all 3 on the podium, but instead, I guess you're going to have to settle for 1 and 2, right?
Yeah, I'll take 1 and 2. Coming in here, I think I said in last week's interview, I'm not the best at mile and a halves. I'd actually probably take road courses and short tracks over these, but yeah, it was a good points day for sure. I didn't expect to lead that many laps and be as good as we are. So I'll take a second and a good points day and go on to Talladega.
Yeah, speaking of Talladega, have you guys already started practicing your setup there? And what are you hoping for? What's the best case scenario for you guys next week?
If I would put super speedways below mile and a half, they're probably my worst track. Next week's just probably going to be about survival, having the right strategy and surviving the race. So I was glad to have a good points day here. I'll just try to survive, not have a bad day next week, and then go on to the Roval.
Well, hopefully we'll be able to conjure up some of that same magic, man, and maybe get you back up in the booth again after Talladega. Before we let you go, man, who was shouting out this week?
Yeah, I mean, great setup from the team. I think me and Jeff and Don proved that tonight. So thanks to everybody that put in time testing over at Triad. Brandon Pierce, Jeff Souza, Jeff Barnes, myself. We all worked on this setup this week. So great team effort there. And then we wouldn't be able to have all the hosted sessions and everything without our sponsors. So thanks to Stent Analyzer, Souza Media, and Caterpillar for me. Thanks.
Man, congratulations again. Sorry you couldn't get it done and bring it home, but you gotta enjoy that second place, man, and hopefully you can duplicate it or do better next week, man. Have a good evening.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Alrighty, that was Mark Pageant, our second place finisher, and led the most laps, also our pole sitter, so he got everything but the win here tonight. Next up, going to be Jeffrey Souza with the call of the race. Took 2 tires, man. I mean, it worked for you twice in a row. I mean, surprised. I mean, you were able to make that work. I mean, how was the car feeling when you took those 2 tires?
Yeah. As you guys were surprised as well. Like Mark said, I did it there in stage 2. And the only reason I had thought to try doing that was I did an A Open earlier this week that I ran. And if I wouldn't took the fence down, I probably would have ended up battling for the lead against someone that I was about 4 seconds back on the short run. So, I like I said, I struggled this week trying to figure out how to save tires correctly. I felt that last run, I was doing a lot better job. I was keeping up with Mark on the short run, on the long run with the tires. I was still a little bit off what Derek was hitting, but that was probably my best long run of the race. So, like you guys said, 2 tires gets out front, and as we've seen here at Texas in real life and in the sim, clean air is just really king here.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like that was an important factor for it too, and it just seemed like, which tires were you taking there? The left sides or
Right sides.
right sides? Okay.
Most of the runs, and I said the same thing the other night. I was just struggling with being tight most of the run, so taking those 2 right sides kind of just freed me up and gave me the opportunity to really run really hard down in 3. 3 was really where I struggled most of the night, but for whatever reason, taking two rights really just allowed me to send it deep into there and get a good run off.
So I think you might be owing Josh Schaffner a beer with that caution coming out like it did. Great job to you though, man. I mean, you ran good all night. Definitely had a solid top 3 car, but able to bring it home, in victory lane. I mean, it's got to feel good for your team. I mean, going into Talladega next week. I mean, of course, momentum going to be very important there at that place, and also, having teammates out there. So you guys have been working hard to try to get that kind of worked out, to work together.
Yeah, I know you guys were talking about Talladega and that being a big deal. I missed, I didn't miss Daytona, but I ended up having issues in Daytona with connection. But I think we'll be good there. I'll be locked in now to the next round, and Mark with winning stage 1 and then finishing second in stage 2 and then finishing second in the race, he should have a pretty good gap on the cut line as well. So I'm thinking it's going to be all out, try to help him win, and then we'll both be locked in.
100%, man. Well, excellent work to you here. Can't wait to see what Talladega holds for you. Who can we give a big shout out to after this huge win here with the Texas Day Brazil 250? Should get you a free steak.
Maybe. To everyone I was saying earlier, Triad, Stent Analyzer, Susan Media, for just working so hard. Brandon Pierce, Jeff Barnes, and the whole team over there at Triad for doing their best. And something that was pointed out to me here right after the finish, me and Mark were talking about it yesterday. We finished 1-2 in the spring race here too. So we finished 1-2 in both Texas races. It was looking like for a minute there that it was going to be him 1, me 2, but like you said, Josh, having that issue late opened the door for me to steal one. So win's a win. I didn't have the car or the driver to do it tonight, just on normal pace, but like you said, short run helped, and 2 tires were king.
Yeah, definitely awesome that was able to work out for you for sure. I mean, it seems like you said 1-2 for Triad. I mean, in both races, you able to sweep that. Do you guys like Texas? I know a lot of guys don't.
I think we love it, and if every week was Texas, I don't think we'd be upset by it. But obviously, it can't be. So we'll pack it up. We'll go to Talladega and then the Roval, and I'm a lot happy to be safe, and I'm a lot happier that I'll be able to try to help them make it into the next round.
Well, glad you're going to be able to rest easy tonight, Jeffrey, and we appreciate your time as always. Love to talk to you up here in the booth, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, one more thing. I got to give a big shout out to my brother. He's getting married on Saturday, so I'll be in the wedding with him. I'm his best man, so it's a good feeling to come out of here with a win, and hopefully head on to Saturday with a win too.
Well, you ought to take the trophy with you to the wedding and be like, yeah, I'm a winner. Yeah. I just wanted to lock myself into the next round. And they're going to be like, what are you talking about?
Hey, they told me I'm the best man. So if anybody asks in the league now, that's the answer. I'm the best man.
All right, Souza. Congratulations. We'll see you later, buddy.
Therefore, take care.
That was Jeffrey Souza, our winner tonight. Definitely always lovely to be able to chat with him, and always lovely to call these races here with Big Al, man. That was a barn burner of a race, wouldn't you say? I mean, you saw a lot of action, and we didn't expect as much action here at Texas, and I think it pleasantly surprised us.
Well, I think I called it, so I'm just gonna say, yeah, go Big Al. But unfortunately, it had to end the way it did, man. I think it was just an awesome race all the way around. And I told you, I said, hey, you can definitely count on us mixing it up at the end, and that did not disappoint. So definitely gave people something to look at, something to cheer about, man. And we'll be right back here doing it again on Saturday.
Speaking of Saturday, we're going to be going green at about 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a little bit after that, and broadcast should be going live around 9:15. So make sure you tune in. We'll be tackling Texas once again. Looking forward to that one for sure. Make sure you tune in next week on next Thursday. We're going to be having another race, but it's going to be Talladega. That's going to be an interesting one. We've already seen some super speedway racing in this car, and it definitely a lot more awesome than it used to be, because I know when this car was kind of first introduced, the plate tracks were somewhat of the boring sort, but we've definitely proved that wrong at Daytona. We saw three, wide. We saw a lot of battling, that's for sure. Different lines able to work. I can't wait to see what Talladega is going to hold for us, considering that is a bigger and badder Daytona. Look forward to seeing that. Make sure you tune in around the same times as I just mentioned for that Saturday series. And thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll catch you next week.